Renewing his attacks today on both the press and his critics. This morning, the president made his case for using social media to bring his message directly to the American people, tweeting, "Only the fake news media and Trump enemies want me to stop using social media. 110 million people. Only way for me to get the truth out. This is the mainstream media sure seems to be proving Mr. Trump right." Behold, CNN political analyst David Gregory's analysis of the White House.
I just think it's been a joke, the behavior within the White House. I mean, the lie from the president that as a business leader, he was going to come in and run a great organization like his own organization, and then he has this nonsense. I mean, Scaramucci acting like this is seventh grade homeroom instead of the West Wing and the presidency. I mean, it was really a joke.
And listen to MSNBC's Chris Matthews take a swipe at the president.
Faced with a full-scale investigation by the House, the Senate, and a special counsel over collusion with Russia during the 2016 election, President Trump has engaged in a series of Russian-style purges. I think all this going around and purging people, just like Kim Jong-un. What does he do? He knocks off all his relatives when he gets scared. When you get scared of your position, you start killing people around you. We don't do that in this country. We fire them. Trump seems to know how to fire.
Oh, my goodness, that was a little crazy. All right, Greg, what do you think? Kim Jong-un, I mean, I like the first name.
I mean, it's understandable coming from them. It's not a surprise. But you're seeing the two lanes. You're seeing the media lane, and you're seeing the everybody else lane. The media is chasing rabbits. The rest of America is interested in the whales. So the rabbits are rumors and conversations and maybe some meetings and some staffing changes. Those are the rabbits that everybody chases, and we chase them too. But America is interested in the whales, and the whales are the economy, and security, and terror. So it's really action. What I always I had to frame it after the election as it's action versus words. They are preoccupied, the media is preoccupied with his words. America is preoccupied with his deeds. And if you have problems with Trump's character or his jokes or the way he acts, concentrate on what he does. And so there are four things that I look at that make me feel like things are going well. ISIS, it's not entirely gone, but it's getting there. He's rolled back a ton of regulations. He withdrew from the Paris Accords. Moab, that symbolic bomb, meant something. It meant something. And then he's confirmed, I think, 5 judges so far. So those are 5 whales that Trump has harpooned while the rest of the media just blubbers.
Okay, we got it.
Thank you very much, America.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Weighty delivery. Okay, Dana, so this is a fair criticism.
Well, I think, first of all, I just think that the whining about media bias is getting in their way of them actually being able to get credit for the things that Greg just mentioned. Because every day we wake up and we have to talk about more stories about the fake news media and everything, except for when they actually confirm the stories that were in the fake news the night before that's confirmed in the briefing, 12 hours later. And actually, I think that reporters, the media, his enemies want nothing more than for him to keep tweeting. Because it gives them all that ammunition. It's actually, if you look at some of the polling, it's like supporters of his that are like, whoa, sir, we don't know if this is actually helping you so much. And the president also, he wants to be taken for his words and his actions. So when, I don't know, I can kind of separate it because I can sort of see, like, I think some of this is bluster. For example, tonight other media is covering a story that is reportedly the president told some friends at a golf club that the White House is a real dump. Okay, so they're running with this story. Now, I could just imagine that the president would be joking when he said that, like, oh, yeah, it's a real dump. Well, really hard to live at the White House.
Being facetious.
He actually, in interviews that he did, like with Time Magazine and with Maggie Haberman of the New York Times, he loves being at the White House. He thinks it's beautiful. He wants people to come and visit. He hardly ever comes back to New York. So I do think that the media has a tendency to run away with things that make the media look bad, but I also think that the president hinders his own message in trying to get those results by talking about the media all the time.
Yeah. I mean, the White House is pretty nice, right?
It's not a bad gig, and they got really good lemon cookies. No living person, no living man, woman, or child, I guess maybe outside of the people at Facebook, want Donald Trump to stop tweeting. No one wants Donald Trump to stop tweeting. Not, as you say, his adversaries who say, more, crazy, we want the crazy. But also his supporters and his administration want him to tweet. They just want him to tweet better. They want him to tweet differently than he's doing it. And no one's trying to take the social media platform away from him, but I am sure that Republicans in Congress and his staff at the White House says, okay, great, tweet all you want, but don't blow up our message for the day.
Yeah, Dana has talked about that before, because you want the messaging for the next day and something to drive it. You got to give them something to talk about, or they'll fill the void. All right, so Juan, a fair criticism. I mean, how did you really honestly feel about the president tweeting?
Oh, I don't think it helps him, but I'm not alone in that. I mean, you're right. I think most of the Trump voters say he should continue tweeting, but a quarter of them say no. I think it's actually more than a quarter of his own supporters, people who voted for Donald Trump, say that they think this is the wrong way for him to go. And if you ask all Americans, then you're like 70% of Americans say this is ridiculous. This is not the way to do business. And in fact, after the communication about the ban on transgender people serving the military, where the Pentagon didn't know exactly what he's doing because he did it in a series of tweets and it got broken up, then there are people who are concerned, hey, what's he doing? Is he starting a bombing run or what's going on? So, you know, the thing is, when Greg says, oh, the press is chasing rabbits and, you know, we're concerned about whales, let me tell you, the president's accomplishments are more like minnows. When you talk about ISIS, he's not gotten rid of ISIS. He has increased the military presence. When you talk about something like pulling out of the climate accord, that's a great accomplishment.
Of course it is, and people who believe in climate change even admit that the Paris Accord was a disaster because $100 trillion went to nowhere. That was a great move on his point, and he's actually probably going to go further in the area of climate change than you would.
Well, that's fine, but again, that's your position is anybody who denies climate change, pulls away, is doing good. That's not my position.
No, that is not my position. And do not say that. What I'm saying is the deal itself, from an economic perspective, was poor. He saw that it wasn't in our best interest, and he said, if he could do another deal, he would.
From our environmental perspective, from melting glaciers and the like, it was a good deal.
You just made a leap that was completely false.
There
totally
you go.
Different subject. All right, let's take a listen to NBC News special correspondent Tom Brokaw talk about what he learned on a recent trip to Wyoming.
We're in Powell, Wyoming, a wonderful classic small town, community college, prosperous farm community, voted 70% for Trump. So I went around and said, where are you now? 69.9, I'd say at this point. And they blame us. They say, look, you guys are all in the hands of the Democratic Party. It's a liberal cabal against this president. They don't feel any connection between what we do and how they live their lives. And they're not entirely wrong, because they look at these shows or doing analysis and commenting on the thing, and they don't see anybody who looks like them or lives the lives that they do.
Greggins.